The elf is with us today. Greetings, mortars. And yokoso to painting. Let us begin. Ba-bum. 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 A moment. Ah, that's better. I have descended to ideal paintingu height. Oh. Still a bit stiff and creaky today. You are now live. I know I'm live. You know how I know I'm live? Because I'm the one that hit the button, you fucking retarded piece of technology. Brother Elfu, welcome to painting. How are you? Desmondu, our forever royal and loyal brother. Corberu, male or female, does not matter. You are welcome. As long as you're not confused as to what one you actually are in real life, you are welcome here. Mentoru, are you going to start calling me senpai? Sensei Defenderu. Oh, I mean, I'm a demigod. Sensei was a long time ago. You're making little matchstick fairy doors? I used to work for an Irish company that made fairy doors. Iron Man Meru, welcome. Walking dogs, enjoying epic paint episode. Excellent way to spend your day. Allow the music to permeate your spina because it is now timer for PEINTEINGU. 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 How are you, Carlos? Are you well? PEINTEINGU. Painting you. Painting me. It's PEINTEINGU. Let's fucking go. Painting you. Painting me. It's PEINTEINGU. Let's fucking go. Yup. Ring the gong. Mini Baru. Never mind. We'll get there. I have yet to train him, and it's not like Mike would pick up the gong anyway, but you wouldn't believe how hard it is to train a bear, even a small one. They would appear to be resilient to tyranny. Never confused in real life. It's an online affliction. Oh, I know all about afflictions. I'm at like that trauma series I'm watching at the moment is fascinating. Like, I've never considered the idea that a lot of the skin stuff that I get in the back of my neck and my face, I used to think it was like, bad case of acne or like allergies or something. And like, it actually might be an allergy. And like, I didn't know that your body can develop an allergy to cortisol or like oxytocin or fucking serotonin. Your body can actually develop an allergy to it, like, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened to me. Like, I spent 15 years constantly angry that I'm now allergic to cortisol. It would explain a lot. It would explain my face. PEINTEINGU, goo. You want to tell the people, Carlos? Come, tell them, Carlos. Carlos, the 850-pound former cocaine-driven tiger, wishes to remind you all to Rika unsubscriber, you cunter, to PEINTEINGU. You don't want me to unleash this feline. Taking off the aluminium bucket from his head and sunglasses would only be detrimental to us all. Slice the right button as we begin painting. We return today to Aruba. It has been besieged by framingos. As I place my royal rag upon my semi-divine knee, my demi-knee. What the fuck? I will prepare the parrot and get these bitches wet. Oh, it appears I'm missing a bitch. Ah, the fat one. I have yet to retrieve the fat bitch from behind the table. Regardless, she is not needed. Right now, anyway. Do not take meth. I wasn't considering it, but, you know, thanks for the reminder. Woad is better than armor. I would argue against that. I mean, what do you consider armor? Thick sheets of paper? I mean, in that case, sure, wood is better than the armor you make. But like, although I'd say a lot of us have underestimated how resilient and protective, tempered and varnished multiple layers of hemp and leather can actually be. Like, it's incredibly hard to cut through that, even with like a really sharp blade. If it's done right, anyway. You don't even need like chainmail or anything like that. Like, if it's done right, you can have really, really light, flexible armor that's like quite effective. But like, if somebody hits you with an axe or some shit, like, it's still going through. But against slicing and certain penetrating weapons, it's actually quite useful. Welcome, Shuri Delta Baru, aka Stabru. Welcome. Everybody on this stream that doesn't do what they're told is like referred to as a foreign dog or a heathen. Blasphemous. Foreign dog's probably one of my favorite insults. We haven't done that in a while. We need to revisit the offensive colors, the offensive names for colors, and fuck it. Like, what did we have? Desmondu, remind me. Lesbian hair blue. Redneck red. You know, that's not that offensive. Like, not even the rednecks. Do you know what I mean? But like, you can have redneck pink. I want like genuinely offensive, but still funny. Like, do you know what I mean? Offensive to like sensitive types. Do you know what I mean? Those are the ones we're looking to offend. Is the ones that literally can't take being offended at all about anything. Tuekar Indi Baru, welcome to PEINTEINGU. Leather armor is not real. That's fantasy. Elf wears steel. Well, why are you talking about wood then if you wear steel armor? And cloth and rope. The image I got in my mind of you just having this like fucking thrown together armor set of like bits of hemp string and paper and sheets of aluminium. Like, oh, that's hilarious. The elf lives! Indeed, he has returned. He's not dead. We did. I assumed you... What was I going to say? I assumed you deceased, brother. Oh, that's hilarious. Titanium white don't need changing. PEINTEINGU. I love I think I told that story before on the stream, but like fuck it, I'll tell it again because it's hilarious. So uh, a best friend of mine from like years ago, he had a dog, and his name was Kobe, like Kobe Bryant, like you know, and it fucking beautiful dog. It was one of those Samoys, or is it Samoy, you know, like chunky, small, husky, like a house for a house breed version of a husky, right? Just like like fucking bone white, like do you know what I mean? Fucking like ivory white, transparent on like polar bear white, adorable fucking thing. And wait for it, PEINTEINGU. So he has this adorable dog, right? And everybody who always comes over to the house or whatever is like, "Oh my god, your dog is so cute," and all like, and he's like bleach white, like you know. And we were sitting in the sitting room one day, and we were just chilling out, watching stuff and all, like. And somebody said like that, like everybody loves Kobe the dog so much that like you should almost like make him his own Facebook page and all, and he'd have a following and shit, like. And I turned around and I was like, you can put his status on Facebook. It's like, status, still white. He just put a photo of the dog, just like, you know, looking kind of serious. And just like, it's just a still image of a white dog. And it just says, status, still white. And like there was about, what, I don't know, like 5 of us in the room or something, like me and my best mate, and then like an old childhood friend of his, like one of his best friends, like that I didn't really know that well at the time, but we were all like hanging out, like, you know. And like my best friend's friend was the one that like broke his shit laughing, like he like doubled over. He was like, "Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious." And like my mate was kind of like this tick, like he's like, and it's like a perfect example of like how like you could get 10 people in a room, right? And like 8 of them will like love me. 1 of them will fucking hate me. And then the other one will just like not find me as interesting as others do. Do you know what I mean? It's always been like that with me. It's like most people think I'm awesome, and then like 10% of the populace like fucking hates me, like, or 5%. I don't know. The numbers are skewed, you know. I missed what fish did you catch? I caught a tanker 14-inch petch last night. 14 inches. That was that's the length of is 12 feet. There's 12 foot or 12 inches in a foot, isn't it? So that's like a foot and a bit. Oh, I love that bit. Man, that chap can play that shamisen like a motherfucker. When I got my hair cut, when I had really long hair, I had like a braided Viking thing going on, like not all the time, but like it was long enough that I could do it. And it was 14 inches long when I finally got it removed. And I'll never forget like sitting there in the barbers and like your one cut it off and like held it up, and another woman over in the corner was like, "Is that 14 inches?" She's like, it was like somebody caught a fish. Is that a 14 incher? And I'm like, oh, it's like, I remember the last time I told that story, and somebody was like, "The only time you can claim to having 14 inches." And it's true, but at least I can claim it. Once upon a time, I had a 14-incher. I was clipped. It was too long. The people couldn't handle it. Do not offend armor, or you shall offend the knife with your simple face. In my attempt to offend people with colours, I've already offended an elf about the intricacies of armory. The internet is a fascinating place. Desmond Duval. Hard in black. That would be like if I had so like my white is just called brilliant white. Isn't it like isn't like brilliant white is also like angelic white. That's what we'd call it. We'd call it angelic white and nigger black. But like, you see, like, yes, that's funny, but like niggers aren't that black. Do you know what I mean? Like, unless you go proper like out in the desert, unga bunga style, like purple fuckers, they look, pretty much black. But even then, like, they're not like it's just like a really deep shade of like purpley brown. So what would be offensive and still actually be black? Not nappy black, like nappy because their hair's black. Their hair is fucking black as fuck. Like when I look at an afro, that's black. Wait for it. Black. And fucking paint. Black. I think that'd work. I think that would work. You call it nappy black. Nappy headed black. Angelic white. Paint. Lesbian hair blue. We could have redneck pink and redneck red. What's another one? Paintingu goo. I've already pre-squirted all over the parrot. So all I have to do is get this bitch wet and we're ready to go. The more this goes on and the more widespread painting goo becomes, I really have to make sure that children do not watch this show. But some of the things are cute and cuddly and funny and the cute little cartoons, and it's like, yes, but I am a vulgar, degenerate fuck in recovery, and I should not be around children. Like some of the shit I say, like, do you know what I mean? Like, and the reason that's on my mind is because the female's younger sisters, one is like 16 or something, and then the other one's 12. They're coming to stay here tomorrow for like 5 days. And part of me was thinking like, oh shit, like they're going to be in the house and all, and like, like I make a lot of noise, I'm quite loud and stuff, like, and especially for the 12-year-old, I don't want to be like setting a bad example and like saying mad stuff in front of her and all, like, So I might like the next 3 or 4 episodes of Painting Goo might have to be kind of PG. But we'll see how it goes. Like, we don't even have sleeping arrangements set out properly yet. Like the female has a shitload of her fucking like the contents of her wardrobe all over the bed over there. And then like I've like fucking big pads of like paper and fucking wooden panels and like sketch pads and drawers full of paint and shit. Like, I have to move loads of stuff around. I ain't white. I just look a wee bit Scottish. Oh, that's hilarious. You look a wee bit Scottish and you're fucking Australian. Oh, I love it. Salmon snatch pink. You could just call it Snatch Pink. Oh, I don't want disgusting ones. I want funny, highly rhetorically offensive colours. I think nappy black works because like niggers aren't actually black because it still has to correlate with the colour of the paint. I am a bit autistic when it comes to humour. I actually live 1 mile from the river on the, what's that? Manhattan side? No? MN? So, no, you're not in fucking America. You're in Canada, aren't you? What's MN? And I don't farm, nope. I'm a house painter. I forgot you're a painter as well. That's hilarious. I'm black Irish. Fucking everybody wants a bit of Irish. Everybody wants to claim they have a bit of Irish in them. Oh, cool. I thought Painting Goose said you were not American the other day. 14-inch would be around 33 centimeters. Oh fuck! I need to grow my hair long again. The female, like does is adamant against me doing two things currently: blackface for Pimpingu when I eventually do Pimpingu. And was it Alexander that's put it in the chat? I think your man Alexander put it in the chat that it should be Painting Nigu, which I actually thought was fucking genius. Painting Nigu. Oh fuck! I can't wait. Like, but I want the whole costume before I do it. You know what I mean? I don't want to just put the hat on and like. Don't get me wrong. The hat this Mundu got me is fucking hilarious. It's so funny. It doesn't even really look like a pimp hat. It looks like a cross between a pimp hat and like a magical like Riddler hat or some shit. Like it's like a ghetto Riddler hat. Like it's got dollar signs on it and all. Like I fucking love it. Splendid white, criminally black. Oh, criminally black is fucking hilarious. Oh, Coonabaroo, John O'Shea. I'm just gonna call you John O'Shea here because you have an awesome name. That's so Irish. John O'Shea, John O. Oh, I fucking love that. Pruner Bear's a boss. I already told you that. His missus and all those homemade stuff and shit like. Oh god. Welcome to Paintingu, brother Johnu. At least Elfu remembers Constantinople. We shall reconquer her one day. Hussy Pink is Hasbro Barbie Pink. It's taken. Oh my god. Please tell me that's not real, like, even though I well believe it is. We'll get it out of our system today. Just like empty all the degeneracy onto fucking onto Paintingu. If only the hat came with an obnoxious looking large feather to make it. Dude, I'm way ahead of you. I'm gonna get a feather. I'm gonna get like big gold rims. I'm gonna get rings. I'm gonna get a cane. And like, it's gonna take a lot of work. Like, I haven't even really started the monkey or the crow and shit. You should see the list of projects I have me fucking like this thing here, like, and I have like a lot of them are crossed out, but I have like 4 or 5 projects on the go right now. The gorilla and the rabbit painting thing, where like instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger and the black guy, it's a jacked rabbit, jack rabbit, jacked rabbit, rabbit jack. I don't know. We'll come up with something hilarious, but it's like a fucking muscular rabbit and a muscular gorilla doing that meme. We need to come up with a caption. Because, like, isn't the caption for that meme, like, you son of a bitch? You know, like, it'd be fucking hilarious. Like, maybe we should make one of them a dog. You son of a bitch! Like, oh, my face keeps leaking. I think I have an ingrown hair. When I trimmed my beard recently, I don't think I did it properly with, like, the oils and stuff. Like, I very, like, wiry hair. I've like a really bushy beard, so I occasionally get ingrown hairs on the side of my mustache where I trim the excess. And I got a particularly nasty one there. Yeah, like John's fucking as Irish as they come, man. John is like insanely Irish. Like, you just look at John, you're like, that's Irish. First time I met John, he looked like a fucking wild man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just like fucking he'd literally been pruning hedges like for decades and hadn't like entered his house. Just like this, like John gives this like vibe of like mad gardener. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, instead of mad scientist, it's more like he just knows loads of shit about fucking like landscaping and gardening and shit and all. Like, Like when you were directing us, it's like, oh yeah, we should go over here and do this, and you should do these with that and all, and like, oh well, you want to do that when you do this and stuff like, and your man Frank was just like nodding along. Like, I have so much respect for people like you who just know their shit, but like, you can tell that you know your shit for like practical reasons, because you've like gotten your hands dirty to fuck, like, I live in the bushes, yeah. Fuck. Oh, it's hilarious. Is John a relative of the famous Irish marksman Rick O'Shea? That's got to be one of the fucking most subtle puns I've ever seen come on this fucking shit. When Griff put that in, was it you or Griff who originally put that in? Fucking the famous sniper Rick O'Shea, and I was just like, I've never heard of that nigga. Like, flew right over my head, like. Oh. Welcome, actually Irish Mr. O'Shea. We now have Nigerian Irish. It's out of control. No, we don't. No, we don't. It's not a real thing just because they say it is. Just because they had a fucking TED talk with some black fucking well, she wasn't even that black. She was more like half caste. No mess. There's a fucking TED talk with some fucking half caste bitch talking about like she has black hair. Do you know what I mean? Like she's got like a fro, and this bitch has the fucking neck to get up in front of a lot of people and talk and discuss what it means to be Irish. What the fuck do you mean what it means to be Irish? It means you were born and bred in Ireland and your ancestors are from Ireland. Just like every other fucking culture in the realm. You goddamn sadists. I'm cool, I'm fine. I will fix my bandana and I will PEINTEINGU. And all will be well. Griff, fifth rank. We're criming the rudder. So you must be a 1970s enthusiast. 1970s must have been savage. Like, I think I would have. I would have gotten along really well and enjoyed the 70s. I have the hair for it. Oh god. Right, let's do some work on this chain. Hold on, I opened my brack. Need to get my hands on some more black gouache. I've officially run out of the black gouache. I still have some of the really nice Pebeo stuff, which is what I'm using now. But one of the main reasons why I want like one of these, because I had one of these in black, but I use so much black and I'm so retarded with the amount of paints that I use that I fucking mill through these. I have to stop. I have to use my paints more economically. But I used to do a bit where it was like, where's my black? Here, black. Where's my black? I can never find my black. Like, there he is. It's just like, it's just black paint. Like, but that's what I love. That's why I love puns, because like, it's also why I love the show Archer. The term phrasing is like one of the funniest fucking things ever. Like, do you know what I mean? Because you just hear somebody say something, and like, you just see it like. And like, I will admit, it's because I have like I don't have a dirty mind. I don't like always think of degenerate, like sexualized things. But I always think of funny shit. I always think of like a skewed way to like I'll receive input from my environment and people in it. And I'll like one of the things I have found myself saying a lot over the years is, oh Jesus, could you imagine? Because like that's what I do all the time. Is like I imagine shit, and then some of it like becomes reality. It's fascinating. Preach you, defenderu, I will you, danke you. I also think it's hilarious to occasionally just speak some German, considering like the whole fucking like get up of the stream and all like. I'm so over my mum. She needs a fucking elf round house to the head to wake her. Brother Elfu, you seem vexed. Speak. Speak your mind. How has your mother betrayed your love? Are you angry? I know all about having, like, murderous, vengeful hatred for your mother. I had it for years. But I am now over it. She was only here there, like, they visit, her and her boyfriend visited there the other day, and she gave me that bear. He's actually a doorstop. Like, he has a good bit of weight in him and all, like, but he's like beautiful and like furry and soft and all, like a proper cuddly toy, like. But he's a fucking doorstop. I fucking love it. Paint. I know all about. Well, I can't. I won't say I know all about anger. I have an extensive amount of personal lived experience with anger, especially when it comes to family and like people close to you and stuff. And if I was to ever give anyone advice on such things, let it go. It's killing you. If it doesn't kill you anytime soon, it will kill you eventually. So let that shit go. Breathe deeply. Listen to the birds chirp. Remind yourself that you live in a beautiful realm, surrounded by fantastic things and such. Forgive your mother. She is only human. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure she's quite the cunt. Or has been, you know? Has been quite the cunt. But you're only doing yourself harm, brother. Harboring hatred, anger, resentment. These things will eat you alive. The demons in your mind. They hate you and they want you dead. The greatest victory is to live a life full of beauty and love. Riv! Ruff! Ruff! Paint! I'll have to move closer to the canvas. The top right corner is always a challenge for my shoulders. I experience quite intense soreness. Like I was saying at the start of the stream, I've been watching that series on trauma. Man, anger, like that cortisol shit, those hormones and chemicals and like all that shit that rushes through your fucking body when you're experiencing stuff like that. That's the stuff that causes cancer. That's the stuff that makes your organs fail. Paint. Forgive. Paint. Hey, oh, that fucked that one up. Paint chain. Big chain. Now, obviously, like I tend to be behind on the chat, especially when I rant. So, I will look at what you like if you responded in the chat and so on and so forth. But if you're anything like me, or what I used to be, I'm sure you're probably thinking when I said those things, oh, you don't know, mate. She's a proper cunt, like, you know, like, you just don't know. Like, I used to say shit about, like, my ma, shit like that about my ma all the time. Oh, like, trust me, like, you don't know the half of it and all. Like, there's always a bigger fish. There's always somebody, like, who has a mother who's, like, more of a cunt than your mother. You know? So, take solace in the knowledge that there's always somebody worse off than you. So the honorable thing to do is to be grateful for your circumstances, regardless of how you feel about them from time to time. Like I said on yesterday's stream, there are people in horrific circumstances, or at least circumstances you or I would deem horrific. And they are content, and they have joy. And I'm not saying it can't be difficult. It's extremely difficult. It's probably one of the hardest things that I've had to do in my life thus far, is reflection upon one's self, and then having I was going to say courage, but I don't think it requires a great amount of courage. It can require courage to face one's demons. But I think what it requires more than courage is the willingness to be honest. Now, whether that takes courage in today's time, like, I suppose you could argue definitely that it takes courage to be honest. But that's how I see it. It's just the willingness to be honest with yourself and the people in your life. And I don't think it's any coincidence that honesty and honor begin with the same first three letters. I don't know what on is, but I'll Google it. Honesty and honor. Strength and honor. Resilience. Fortitude. Stalwartness. Speak in a manner that brings you clarity and joy. Think and behave in a manner that feels congruent with your true self. A lot of people would tell me or say that I'm just talking a lot of shite right now, or I'm being vague, but if you understand where I'm coming from, then you understand where I'm coming from. And it is not my responsibility to explain life to anyone. Not yet, anyway. Son, I am a demigod. Imagine my kids turning around being like, Mother, is Father really a demigod? And then, like, whatever the female chooses to say to the kid, and then the kid comes running into me, is like, Father, are you really a demigod? Yes, son, yes, I am. I've thought about shit like that, where how would it feel for like little ginger kid that I know is mine to like run into the room and be like, Daddy, or something. Like, man, I'm probably gonna cry my eyes out for the first couple of days being a father. Like, straight up, like, I can imagine I'm going to be one of those blokes that, like, I've had so much, like, trauma in my life and shit that, like, I'll have a baby and I'll just, like, weep. Like, I'll just cry my eyes out, like, for all sorts of reasons, like. How behind in the chat am I? How many messages has Puck Elf put in? Jesus Christ, that's a lot. Uh, since your car accident, your medigula, is that like, your amygdala, your amygdala, or your medulla oblongata? Your amygdala or your medulla? Did you spell that right? Is there another one called the medigula? Never heard of that one. Ah, Riv, Raff, Ruff. Words to riff by. I was thinking earlier on me and Minister Bravison were like spitballing ideas back. He got on to me and he was like, "Oh, you should do this," and like and some of the ideas that we came up with earlier on are fucking hilarious, man. Like, and that was one of the ones I thought of after I was talking to him. Cause like the way you see like live, laugh, love like fucking everywhere. It's like in everyone's house. Like it's on fucking everything. Like, and I was just thinking, I was like, Riv, Raff, Rov, paint. I think I'm gonna make a T-shirt that says that. Like, I still need to get the images that I want scanned from the birthday gifts that I got. They're so cool. Like me as a bear, and then me in cartoon form. The me as a bear was done by Blythe Bear. Shout out to Blythe Bear. She's awesome. She's actually part of the Irish Bear clan, but she lives over in the States. I don't know if they're married now, if they're engaged. But she's with a guy called, oh, I can't remember his name. Sorry. Oh, Rook Bear. Rook Bear, as in like the chess piece, I think. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Adorable couple. They look like they really suit each other. Uh, she did the one of me as a bear, and then Scouse's nephew or something, I think, did me in cartoon form. Fucking brilliant looking. So funny. So yeah, I'm gonna make PEINTEINGU t-shirts and PEINTEINGU mugs and stuff like that. So there's gonna be like my personal art stuff, and then there's gonna be like all the PEINTEINGU merch as well. Like uh, Corberu gets it. Indeed, indeedo. Most frustrating thing is that I've attempted to address the issues, and they said yes, and I and did and they did nothing, or so then they still got back to fucking up now. They got me charged by police, and I have a what's that? A drink driving charge now? DV? What's a DV charge? No way! I'll never trust her not to lie again. I know, well, like, dude, like fucking. It's I know it's hard. I know it's hard, and it's funny because like the problem I had with my mother was deception and betrayal of the highest form. Well, probably not one of the highest forms of betrayal. Um, but like, and it took me years. It took me fucking years, man. It was when I was started painting, when like just after COVID hit or whatever, and I started painting. It was when I sold my first painting for €50, and I was overcome with emotion, and I ran downstairs and I said, I don't want to fight anymore. I'm sorry, you know. And like, yeah, I get it. She doesn't deserve an apology. Why should you apologize to her? Fuck her. She's done you wrong. She's a lying cunt. I get it, man. But like when you see it, if you see it and when you see it, you'll understand that like all of those things you're saying and all of those feelings that you're feeling, the only one they're really hurting is you. You know, you owe it to yourself to let that shit go. And if you can let that shit go enough, I'd say there's some people out there that like just cannot reconcile, but they can get over it. But I don't know. I think it's like a spiritual thing. I think stuff like that leaves like spiritual imprints, energetic imprints on you until you deal with them. Look into sound therapy. I've heard that's really efficient. All that stuff with like tuning forks and shit. Like, no way. You like cut a bush on her land or something, and it's like a domestic charge. That's fucking bullshit, man. That's pure sly. That sounds very petty. You know. I'm very, 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 very angry. I feel you, bro. I fucking feel it. Look at my face. If you have any experience in physiognomy, like you can tell by looking at my face that like I have held and still hold a lot of anger in me. Like ask John. John's got a lot of anger. Like I'm not gonna even like speculate as to what, but like I can see it in you, John. I see you, John. You got a lot of anger, bro. And like for such a sweet guy, like it's always people like you, sweet, relatively quiet, really helpful. Like good father, good husband, all this shit. Like but like this passionate disdain for the degeneracy and deception that we're surrounded by, like, and the frustration involved in like not knowing how or what to do about it other than to just mind your own. Like, do you know what I mean? I feel that from you. Like when we were all drinking in Frank's and all, like, and like, there came this moment where you were like, "It's not right," and I just relate to that so much. I relate to that so much. Like, do you know what I mean? That feeling, that vibe of like that righteous anger, And like, if you're not careful, you'll misplace it, and like it can eat you up and stuff like that. Like, dude, that's probably why your posture is so like. That's why you're so tight up here. That's why you're like this. Like, I'm the same. Granted, I played a lot of video games and stuff, so that didn't help. But like, that's what it is, man. It's that tension, that tension in your body that like hasn't. It's the issues in the tissues that you need to like do something with it. Like, tai chi and qigong, all that shit. Man, fucking Westerners give it a load of shit and laugh at it. And like, oh, look at you waving your hands all slow, pussy, and all. Like, dude, you be sweat. If you do it properly and you get into it, you're fucking sweating in minutes. And like, it's incredibly cathartic and meditative. It's so good for your blood flow and your nervous system. And that's what is fucking us all up. People like Elf, people like me, like, your fucking nervous system, your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system are like out of whack. And basically what that means is like the stuff that keeps you awake and alert versus the stuff that allows you to wind down and relax. And like, they're totally out of whack. I bet you have problems sleeping sometimes. Elf and John, well, probably loads of us here. I got 3 hours of sleep last night. Had a great stream, like fucking nearly 3 hour long stream. I did some fucking painting, some designing, some doodling, fucking house chores, fucking dinner, all this fucking shit. Had a great day and just could not fucking sleep. Just couldn't do it. My mind was just racing. Didn't get to sleep till like 4 in the fucking morning. Got 3 hours sleep, got up at fucking 20 to 8. Got the female up, she's off to work, and I've been awake since. I wanted to go back to bed so fucking bad earlier on. It's those little battles. Those little victories throughout your day where, like, you don't give in to anger or, like, you don't give in to temptation, like, The Bible's not fucking lying about that shit. Like, the temptation doesn't have to be, like, big or major. Like, temptation could be, like, don't eat that Kit Kat, Don't go back to bed for an hour. I make weapons because I'm aggressive. Fear response at the center of your brain. Yeah, like your limbic system, and then your like brain stem, and then your frontal cortex and all that shit. So like your frontal cortex is where you do all your thinking, and that's like the part of your brain that doesn't finish developing till you're like 25 or whatever. Your frontal cortex is where you do all your thinking. Your limbic system is where you do all your feeling, and your brainstem is like your reptile brain. And your reptile brain has memories. And like that's why you can like MK Ultra the fuck out of people, because you can like traumatize them and train them to the point where they don't even know that that's how their nervous system is trained, because it's like so deep within you. It's like it's fucked up, man. It's some dark shit. Like that's why kids are great. That's why children are such a gift, because like they remind you of what you used to be before all this shit happened to you, you know? And like when when humans are born, that's why they go for the kids. That's why they fuck the kids up so much. That's why they have to traumatize the kids as far as they're concerned. Because if you don't traumatize a child, a human being who doesn't have all this trauma and fear. Do you know your IQ drops by 10 points when you're scared, and drops another 10 points when you're like when you go from scared to being like terrified, you know? Like the more scared you get, the dumber you get. Like that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? When you talk about stuff like fear porn and all this fucking propaganda shit, that like there's literally a fucking like alchemical purpose to what they're doing to you. They want you scared. It's not just because they want you scared because they want you scared. They want you scared because if they keep you scared and they keep you angry, or they keep you angry and scared, or if they have you flip-flopping between being angry and being scared and being sad, like for months or years at a time, you're basically just putty in their hands. And not only are you putty in their hands, but you don't have the fucking self-awareness, intellect, and reasoning to be able to realize what they're doing to you, and also you just let shit happen. You know, it's like I think the reason the pendulum is swinging is because they went too far. You know, they it it's so rigged now. The system is so rigged now, and the trauma is so widespread, and the propaganda is so bad, and the shit they do to children is so bad that like I wouldn't be surprised if like in the last like 10 or 15 years or something, fucking God or whatever has intervened, and that's why shit is starting to change. Something happened, something broke where people were like, you know, this we can't do this shit anymore. And like obviously that happens every so often, like cycles and stuff. But like our timeline is particularly fucked up in lots of ways, you know? If we're to believe what history is for the most part, then like a lot of history is very similar, you know, to a lot of history. But our era is like particularly fucked up in some ways. Uh, I'll tell the female you said hello, Bruno. Um, my mom was a hyper emotional schizophrenic. I totally agree with you. Don't carry that crap around. It's toxic. Let it go. Your medulla, yeah, Stabru, yeah, like that's the total vibe I'm on. Like, you know, let that shit go. You know, and like that's why it's hard. Like, do you know what I mean? Because like the reason you're holding on to it is because you care. You know, you're not holding on to it because you're a bitch. You're not holding on to it because you know you're like needy or whatever. Like you're holding on to it because you give a fuck. That's why you're holding on to it, because you care, because you know that shit's not right, because you know that there's a reason you're angry, and the reason you're angry is a good fucking reason. Your anger is justified. That's why it's so frustrating, you know? But it's not like you have to remove the emotion and approach it logically. And when you approach it logically and objectively, like I've said this a few times. For years now, I, on occasion, try to observe myself from a third person perspective, like I'm playing a video game. And it really helps you notice what you do and what you are like on a daily basis. Watch your thoughts. watch your actions, witness yourself, and you will begin to realize things. And if you're honest with yourself while you're witnessing, you will see shit that brings you shame. You will see shit that like makes you guilty. You will see shit that makes you pause and stop and think and go, am I the fucking problem here? You know? Like it's the same with what like fucking Owen was saying the other day. Is like if you don't have the wherewithal to realize that you have the potential to be the bad guy, you know, it's on the same line of thinking. It's like if you don't have the wherewithal, like it's pretty much the same thing. It's like if you don't have the wherewithal to realize that you could be the problem, you know, you could be the problem. It's possible that your problem is you know, and like once you get to that stage, you get that like sense of like, okay, right, how can I approach this and actually start fixing shit, like, you know? It's like nobody wants to. Well, that's not true. Some people do want to stay broken because it benefits them in various ways. But like, I was never that type. I hated being angry all the time. I hated being broken and traumatized and sad and depressed and all this shit. I fucking hated it. I've got shit to do. Like, that stuff takes up too much fucking time. Paint, paint. Painting, goo, 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 goo. Painting, goo, 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 goo. There's certain objects, like, you know, well, I suppose grass and trees aren't objects, they're like organic matter or whatever, but like things. There are certain things that when I'm painting them or drawing them, like certain patterns, like chains, trees, grass, rock formations, geometrical patterns, clocks, symmetrical stuff. There's certain patterns that are really cathartic to construct. You just like repeat the same thing over and over again, and then it like gets to a point where something else. It goes from a micro to a macro. You get that fractal effect where it's like one link becomes a chain, you know, and then like or feathers on a flamingo or any kind of bird. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like there's certain patterns that just like they do something to your mind. I can't really articulate it right now. The best way I could say it is like there's a calming effect. More so, I find more so than in other shapes. Certain shapes have a more certain shapes and patterns have a greater calming effect than others, and I find that fascinating. You know, like that makes sense to me. Where like you'd have like a woman who just like always knits and stuff. You know, a friend of my best friend for years, his mother was big into knitting, and she was fucking good at it. She made like you know the English soldiers with the big black furry hats. Um, the Nutcracker, that's what it was. She made like a whole like diorama of like knitted puppets of like the Nutcracker. Fucking brilliant. It was really cool. And she'd make like you know jumpers and scarves and hats and all this shit like and it reminds me of Demolition Man, where they fucking they like imprint the ability to knit in him. And he gets unfrozen and he's like, you know, this fucking badass cop and all like, and he's just like amazing at knitting all of a sudden. Oh god, that movie's fucking amazing for so many reasons. But yeah, there's something to patterns. Painting. Goo. Paint. Paint chain. Big chain. God chain. Paint. Paint. Big chain. Painting goo. Yeah, starting to look more like a chain. The stream started, it was just a grey blob. Paint. 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 Painting goo. Imagine, like, a couple of 100 years ago, you're on one of those, like, the HMS Victory or one of those style ships, sailing along in the great open blue, and you just saw something like this coming, like huge, like each link was like the size of a ship, and it's just like coming out of the water and just goes into the sky as far as you can see. That's the sort of stuff that's like real simple, but like, what the fuck, Like, if they put that in a movie, I'm sure it's in like some movie somewhere or some show. I'm sure that idea has been done or something at some point, where there's just like a fucking giant chain going from Earth to the heavens, like. But seeing it come out of the water would be. Granted, it would be just as fucking impressive if you saw it on land. Like, if you were going through a desert and you're like, is that a mirage? And then you get close to it and it's like fastened to the sand, like it's like buried and shit, and then it just like goes up fucking as far as you can see. Like, imagine the temptation to climb it and see where it goes. Like, that's been in a few sci-fi shows, and they've talked about stuff like that, where they have like a sky cable, where they have like a huge cable that just goes from sea level, like, just up into space. And I have a weird feeling something like that's going to be done, but I don't know if it's going to go up to space. I think it's just going to go like hundreds of thousands of feet into the air and be like kept afloat with like balloons and shit, like, Like, has anyone here ever played Bioshock Infinite or any of the Bioshock games? Bioshock Infinite is one of the fucking coolest, most interesting video games I've ever played, because the amount of fucking mad, like, alchemical gravy that is just like littered through. Like, there's alchemical gravy in Bioshock 1 and 2, but in Infinite, the whole parallel universe, multiple timeline, like, same setup, but like slightly different, It's like, just the concept of like floating buildings and floating cities. When you first think of it, you're like, there's no way that would work. Like, but actually, there's many ways it could work very easily. Anything from electromagnetics, like, static electricity or some shit, temperature differentials causing all sorts of like differences in pressure. You could use that somehow. And then there's stuff like, helium and shit, and you could go balloon style. But imagine seeing that. Imagine seeing that, like, you get high enough in you get to a certain longitude and a certain latitude and longitude, just so like a particular GPS location in the realm somewhere, and you just go up and up and up, and you just reach this city and it's floating. And you would think to yourself, like, how the fuck does nobody know this is here? But think about it. What, commercial airplanes fly at like, what was it, 30, 35,000 feet? Some of them go higher. And like, you know how big a plane is when it's in front of you. They're fucking huge and they weigh hundreds of tons. But that thing can stay in the air and go that high in the air, you know, potentially for like more than a day, depending on the engine and the amount of fuel. So if you change the technology to, instead of trying to travel somewhere, to just trying to stay suspended. Like, I've heard that you can cancel out gravity, or gravity in quotes. I've heard you can make shit change its density and buoyancy by using mercury and like spinning it. If you spin mercury, it like cancels out its own weight or some shit and just begins to like take off. I think that's where flying saucers, UFOs and shit. I think that's some gravy. Yeah. Painting goo. I haven't forgotten to give one of the flamingos a Glock. I still have to put a car and a pedal in here somewhere. What was the other thing? Car, pedal, flamingo with a Glock. There was something else. Ah, yes, the airships. I want to sit down at one point and actually design like a bear ship. I don't mean a legit one that would like work in an engineering sense. I mean like in a fantastical sense, but like a really cool looking one that looks like it could work. You know, one that looks like it could work, but like probably wouldn't actually. Oh, pardon me. Was that the first burping goo of painting goo today? I believe it was. Oh, that reminds me. Sip, sip. My voice is much better today. So is my throat. I want to get paint all over the laptop. I don't think Elf is jiving with my preaching. Understandable. Understandable. Like I said, if I was in your shoes, I'd probably be saying the same stuff. That's exactly how I was. Fuck that! She's a cunt! You have no idea! Boom, 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 boom. And like, I find myself in a difficult position because I don't want to shame my mother over the internet by saying what she did and how I got over it. I've said it on streams like before, so if you're willing to go digging, you could probably find it. But now that I'm actually in a position where I have a fairly amicable relationship with my mother, uh, I'm not gonna air the dirty laundry like that and disrespect her or dishonor her in that fashion. Um, but like I believe me when I say like if I can forgive my mother, anyone can forgive their mother. like, just trust me. Like, trust me. I'm a demigod. All I can hear is Jesse Lee Peterson in my mind. Have you forgiven your mother? That's amazing. Do you love your mother? Owen? The way he says Owen. Oh, I love Jesse. He's fucking brilliant. How's the chain looking? Ah, the chain looks excellent. Oh, I can't go over the 2 hour mark today. Just letting everybody know before you get your hopes up for a lengthy painting go. I didn't get a lot of sleep, as I said, and I have to be a good boy. I have to conserve my energy for other projects. Paint, paint. Righteous intolerance is the air most of us breathe. Oh, bro, that was a brilliant way to say that. Righteous intolerance is the air most of us breathe. Fucking too right, man. Too fucking right, man. Like, that's what it is, like. Needs to release. I'm doing a tiny bit better. And that's good to know, John. Like, I'm doing a little bit better. Like, good shit, man. Much love. That's fucking great to hear. The elf is not above cursing people. Is that why you've chosen? Is that why you've chosen the digital persona of an elf, a magical elf? Because like, you don't want to do any harm, but you want the benefit of magical powers. So if you end up doing harm, you can do some real harm. A lot of anger comes from fear. That's the truth. Yeah, man. Fear of anything, just fear in general. You know, fear of a lot of my fear came from the fear of the potential consequences of my anger. I learned from a young age that, like, if I wanted to, like, I could really hurt someone physically, you know? I fucking, like, intense rage. I was one of those guys where, like, you know, I did it recently. I did it recently. I put my fist through a door recently. Like, lost my shit. Hasn't happened in a while, you know, but it happened recently, and I felt great shame, you know, because it happens so sparsely now. Because it's not a regular thing. Now, when I lose control, afterwards I have a tendency to cry. Because I would rather look like a bit of a bitch and, like, let it out that way than, like, break shit and destroy stuff and all, and, like, hurt myself and other people and all this crap, like, you know. And I've always been like that. That's why I used to cut myself. I used to cut myself because I wanted to hurt everything and everyone. I wanted to burn the world. I wanted to fucking destroy everything. You know, I didn't just like fantasize about killing people. Like, I fantasized about, like, biblical genocide with me at the epicenter, like some sort of, like, black hole or nuclear explosion. Like, do you know what I mean? Do you ever see the movie, what's that fucking thing called? Oh, Carrie? Cassie? Is it Carrie or Cassie? You know, that young one that fucking, like, I can't remember. Does she get raped or something? A lot of, or she gets, like, mocked or something. I can't remember. Something happens to her, and then she discovers that she has, like, pyrokinetic abilities, and she, like, sets everything on fire. That's a very archetypical thing for, like, they had a fire bitch in Hellboy, where her powers of flame were connected. Her pyrokinesis was connected to her emotions. I've felt like that. Like, I related to that when I watched that shit. Like, I felt like, and I liked Johnny Flame, or whatever his name was, from the Fantastic Four. The Flame on! But, like, he didn't have, like, trauma. He was, like, a really positive dude. From what I remember, anyway. I don't know the ins and outs of the lore of Fantastic Four, but from what I remember, like Johnny Flame wasn't like a traumatized individual in that sense. Like, but I relate to characters like Carrie and your one out of Hellboy, where like I get so angry. I don't like visualize myself. Like sometimes I like visualize myself like fucking like the thoughts will come in and I'll imagine myself like fucking like smashing someone's face in or something like. And then after a few seconds I'm like, get out, like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck am I like? I don't like thinking about that shit, like, do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I like violence, like moral violence, like, like I like sparring and practicing martial arts and like doing garden work, like, do you know what I mean? Like, gardening is a violent act. Like murdering fucking trees and shit. Like, that's incredibly cathartic. It's like hacking through a load of bush, or like chopping down a tree. Like, that's why, like, chop wood, carry war. It's not just mental; it's alchemical. It's a process that like you naturally have to go through. You must adhere to the rooms of the rooms. You must adhere to the rules of the realm. We're playing a game. We are playing a game in a sense, and there's rules to this game, and some can be bent and some can be broken, but like there are consequences to bending and breaking the rules. Ask the Jews. People have no idea how easy they are to read. Including you, nigga. Don't talk about kids being scared or I'll flip out. Well, that's something you need to work on, I should be able to talk about anything and like you don't adversely react emotionally. That's one of the things that like I fucking like love about Owen. That's one of the things that he has taught, that he has reminded a lot of people about, Discipline your emotions. If you're like freaking out and you're like, fucking, oh, how dare you? And like, you're the problem. Not the guy who's saying the stuff, That shit's in you. I know you're traumatized, I can tell. You don't need to convince yourself of anything. You need to accept reality, accept the truth. Vandochu, welcome to PEINTEINGU. Oh, come on. You've definitely done something wrong in your life. Like, think of it. Like, come on. Like, be honest with yourself. Like, there's bound to be something wrong you did. Like, what? Maybe you did nothing wrong to your mother, but, like, something. See you later, John. You're probably well gone by now. But, like, guys like you and Desmond are going to make great fathers one day. Now get on it, lads. It's fun. A few people have said that about me, and like I really appreciate the sentiment. And like when God is like when the divine consciousness or God or the All Father, whatever you want to fucking call it, him, it, she, I don't fucking care. When fate deems it necessary to put me in that scenario, I will face it gladly. I'm not afraid of having children anymore. I was afraid of having kids. Now I'm not. I'm open to the idea. But I'm also, I still have that sense of like I'm not ready, because I still have like my own shit to deal with that I don't want to imprint onto the kid, I still have a bit of that, So that's probably what'll happen. Like, once I like get rid of that shit, like, it'll probably happen. I don't know, like, because I think when you really boil it down, I think that's where the female's like sense of Uh, seriously, this fucking glue is shit. Like, I think that's where the female sense of fear and insecurity comes from. I don't think it's financial, you know? Like, there's a financial aspect to it. But if she genuinely felt like she was, like, safe, you know? Then we'd probably have kids by now. But we've had a tumultuous relationship. You know, we still argue often. I wouldn't say regularly, but like we occasionally still argue, and it occasionally gets fucking quite intense. You know. And I'm not saying you should get to a point where you never argue. I think that's naive. But I think that's the main reason why the female's not ready, is because she's not quite sure how this is all going to pan out based on previous experiences. We've broken up multiple times, you know, in the 11 odd years we've been together. We've been away from each other for like, I think 3 or 4 months, maybe 5 months was the longest period. I'm not sure. And like, she, you know, was with another guy temporarily and shit like that. And like, and I tried to move on, found other females and stuff, like, you know, this wasn't meant to be. I'm supposed to be with her, at least for the moment, anyway. I genuinely do feel like bound to old Wishy Bear there, and I think she feels the same, which is probably one of the reasons she's so frustrated. Like, I've had thoughts that, like, you know, like I've never had a dream or like a vision or like a fucking like a remembrance of a previous life. But I've like felt things and seen things in my life with her that how dare you interrupt my deep conversation with the PEINTEINGU patrons, you rude cunt. I've had like feelings that like I've done this before. That Wishy and I have been together for like thousands of years or something. Like I've had feelings like that, like, and they're weird when you get them. Like, do you know what I mean? They don't just sound weird when you say them, because when you genuinely do get the feeling, you're like, holy shit. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel, Desmondo. I would like to be a dad one day, but I have more of myself to work on first. Yeah, and I like it's not that I'm afraid, like, you know, and I can tell that you're not afraid either. It's not a fear thing. Like, maybe you used to be afraid. I used to be afraid. I used to be very skeptical and afraid, like cautious. But now I'm like, you know, if it happened, it happened. Like, and I just deal with it. Like, and I embrace the idea. And like, it's just in the last couple of years, like, COVID traumatized a lot of people, but I was already traumatized, as I'm sure many of you were. I was already traumatized by my life. So when COVID happened and all these people started to get like actively like really badly traumatized, and I'm walking around with no mask on, not taking any vaccines, being like, I don't give a fuck. Like, what, you believe these people? Like, you believe the advertisements. You believe the propaganda. Okay, well, I don't. And like, I'm sorry about you. Like, like, it was an eye-opening experience for me, watching people in my environment, most people in my environment, tuck tail and run like cowards, you know, submit That's what they got most people to do. They got most people to take a knee, like spiritually and metaphorically. And a lot of us didn't. A lot of us were like, not today. Not ever. Not on PEINTEINGU. Like, that's how I felt. I remember pulling up into the fucking car park to go shopping with female. And I seen the queues outside the shop and people wearing masks. I was just like, this is not right. Something off about this. This is not fucking right. To say it was an eye-opening experience is a fucking understatement. I've learned a lot about myself in the last 4 or 5 years. Like, a lot. A shit ton. Who's the simp? Because if you're calling me a simp, that's the last you're about to see the elf. Are you?
This Valentine's Day, follow the path to lower prices. Go all.
I actually kind of want to read all that for a sec. Yeah, like the amount of people that want me to have kids, like, it's hilarious. Oh, cool. Oh, he left. All right, fair enough. I'll deal with that later. I'll block him later. Is what it is, you know. Dude, if you can't listen, like, if you can't listen to, like, me, and you freak out like that, I am not your problem, you know. Man, I can feel the pain. I'm not even reading everything he put in. I'm just scanning through it, and like you can like feel how much pain he's in. That is a sad, broken man. I hope he gets through it. I might not ban him. We'll see if he comes back. We'll give him a chance, you know. I mean, he did call me a simp. He's called me brainwashed and all. I think he's just venting, though. You know, he's being a big baby. I don't think I'm gonna, like, you know... Don't get me wrong. He doesn't deserve the honor of the band fan. I'll probably just block him or some shit, like. But part of me wants to see if he comes back. You know? Maybe if I keep saying stuff, something will get through. I mean, he straight up says, I'm traumatized. Alright, okay. Forgiveness is the only way out, and I know it, but I'm not ready. Okay. Well, he admits that shit. But then he just gets, like... Then he just freaks out. Magnets! Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, he's just in despair, man. That's unfortunate. He'll either make it or he won't. I'll give him a chance. I'll give him a chance. He's said some fucking mad shit, but like, it's not me he's mad at. You know? It's not me he's mad at. Poor guy. I feel for the nigga, you know? I'll leave the door open, see if he strolls back in one day. Just don't listen to the grabbler voice telling you that you can't or should not. Oh no, I know I can. Yeah, definitely. And I know I should. They're like, the world would miss out if I didn't create a few mini-me's. They'd at least be a good laugh, more than likely. But yeah, me and Desmondo are on the same wavelength currently. Like, the level of self-awareness, you have enough self-awareness to be like, man, like, I need to get my, I need to center myself and get myself in order. And I know people would say, well, having a child is what makes you do that. But, like, I don't want my child to be my excuse to get my shit together. I want to get my shit together so that my children have a stable, disciplined, loving father, And I think, like, if I had children now, like, if the female fell pregnant now, I would, like, I've already said this to her. I said this to her a while ago. I would accept it, and I would be like, cool, like, here we go, But I would be concerned that because Wishy and I still have issues, both, like, in our relationship, and, like, she has personal issues and I have personal issues, like trauma and shit, like, I would be concerned that we would imprint some of it upon them. And that's the last thing I want, is to repeat those cycles. Because that's essentially what happened to me, Both of my parents came from very traumatized families in very different ways. My mother lost her father at a young age. My father kind of grew up like a little bit poor and rough from what I've been told. Like not really poor, but big family, not a lot of money. Father was a truck driver, mother was a cleaner. My father didn't come from money, which was one of his main motivators to get into computers, because he grew up in the 80s when they were starting to get big and all, So that was his big motivator. It's I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get a lot of money and I'm going to be able to help my family and all this fucking shit. And I think that's what my dad is dealing with, is I haven't spoken to him about any of this, but from what I know and from the last time we spoke, my speculations would be that he harbours a lot of guilt, because it didn't matter how good of a job he got and it didn't matter how much money he earned. He still had to watch his parents die in a horrible way. That's dark, man. That's some fucking horrible shit. Oh, he's back already? Here, bro, relax. Just relax, nigga. It's all love here. Just chill out. Just don't type anything for a while. Just chill. Just look at the retarded flamingo and smile. I'm not judging you. I'm just speaking my mind. If you don't like what I'm saying, leave. I'll leave the door open. You can come back whenever you want. But you insult me again like you did in the chat, and I'll ban your ass. And I won't even give you the honor of getting the ban fan. A very understandable reason, Stavru. The cream always rises to the top eventually. It is for selfish reasons. I want more young guys like you to have kids. You don't even look that old. You look like you're in your 40s. You look like you could still have 10 kids. Need more based and caring fathers in the world. I see so many that just have kids as pets. All in good time. I've seen that. I've seen a lot of that. Where like exactly like that, where the children are just there. The children are something they have to deal with, and that's horrible. Like that's fucking horrible. I've seen like there's one female that I see walking around the town every so often, and she's got a lot of children, like all ages. Like the older ones are like pushing the smaller ones in the pram and stuff, and she looks fucking like traumatized. She looks like she's become a very callous female, but she's the matriarch of like, fucking 6 kids or something like. And the kids look relatively well, like they look well fed and clothed and clean, but they look fucked up. You can see it in their faces. So God only imagine what the father's like, or if the father's even around, like. But I've seen her walking around the town a few times, and I see all the kids, and I see her, and just all the thoughts that go through my mind of like, whoa, because you can just see it. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you know, if you know, you can just see the signs, the facial expressions, the posture, the little nuances in their voice patterns and stuff, and the way they like their body language in relation to each other and stuff, like the way they hold themselves, like you can just see it, and it hurts. Like for people like me, it does hurt. Like, and I know, like a lot of you guys are the same. Where like you see stuff in the world, in your environment, and like it gets so bad that sometimes you want to stop caring, because if you keep caring, it's just going to drive you crazy. But we're designed to care, That's what the devil has tried to do to us. That's what these parasitic demonic entities have tried to do to us, and have succeeded with many of us, but they haven't succeeded with people like us yet. And I say yet because like God only knows what's going to happen between now and God knows when. So like I can't make that claim. I can't make the claim that like all of us here, we're good, we're going to make it. It's like I'm not going to make that claim or make that promise. God has a plan, I know that much. The rest of us make plans, and he laughs. He knows not what he do. Indeed. He'll be alright. I mean, he came back within minutes. How'd you feel now? Did the retarded flamingo make you feel better? MGTOW? What's MGTOW? What's that fucking... What does that stand for again? What does MGTOW stand for again? I can't remember right now. The past is history. What's that thing that the turtle says in Kung Fu Panda? Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. I can't remember what he says about today, but that's why it's called the present. Live in the moment. Live every day, just as well as you can. I want to watch Kung Fu Panda again now. The first 2 Kung Fu Pandas are fucking brilliant movies. They really are. What's the story with Jack Black? Is he a shill? Is he like demonically sold out and all? I know he did the Pick of Destiny and stuff. It's fucking hilarious though. He's definitely like a degenerate in some ways. But like, I don't know, there's something about Jack Black that I've like seen over the years where I'm like I don't think he's a bad guy, Like those are the ones that I have a problem with, Like you can sell out, and depending on the circumstances, I'd be like, yeah, I kind of get it. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if I was standing where you're standing with your history and all this stuff, and you got offered that, and like you're gonna do this with it, grey area. But we all know the kind of fuckers that like, just like hard shill all the time, shamelessly. And then try to get you to like all the propaganda and shit. Like, Jack Black is an odd duck. I know he does gaming streams, or at least he did a little while ago. Hard to pin the tail on that donkey. That's exactly how I feel. You know? That is exactly how I feel. When I look at Jack Black, I'm like, I don't know, you know? But I hold out hope. No, I don't like hope. Fuck hope. Faith is so much better than hope. That's like, could you imagine on some kind of like metaphysical fractal level me saying, fuck hope, I don't like hope. Faith is so much better than hope. Like thousands of years ago, I was like a god. And like, Hope was my daughter, and she heard me say that about her and my other daughter, Faith. Like, cause that isn't that it? Like, that's how it isn't. Hades is the father of which one? One of the Fates, because I can't remember. His bride was Persephone or something, wasn't it? I can't remember. My Greek mythology is terrible, but like, you know, they were all like daughters and stuff. Like, I think Hope and Faith, like Hope was a daughter of Zeus. I can't remember. But how funny would that be? Like, if like when we die, eventually we realize that like what a soul is just an energy signature. Like, you know, the whole thing of like the drop, Star Trek. The ocean becomes the drop becomes the ocean. Like, I always thought that like when we die, we just return to source, and then like whatever that fucking means or feels like. But like, how funny would that be if like you die and you return to source, and then it all just becomes clear, like, and you're just like, oh my god, this is like the whole phrase, the term divine comedy. Like, I think that's what this is. I think this is a divine comedy. It's a video game. Dick Vordo! Welcome! Oh, PEINTEINGU! So you're saying Jack Black is a jackass? I didn't see the Gulliver's Travels thing, but I Pick a Destiny was hilarious, and I seen him a couple of other things, and he was funny, and he did a really good job as voicing the panda in Kung Fu Panda. He brought an excellent energy to that film, like, you know. It was almost like, you know, they embodied kind of Jack Black's, like, pudgy playfulness in the panda. Trying to think now. I watched a few minutes of Nacho Libre, and I remember not finding it funny at all. I found it kind of cringe. But maybe if I went back now, I'd, like, find it funny. I don't know. As per usual, I am just full of ponderings and ponderances. Oh my god, yeah, he did get his arm shot off by Bruce Willis in The Jackal. That's a fucking mad scene. Like, he's real young in that, isn't he? Oh, my posture's really bad right now. Oh. I need to do my gong. Yeah, I love Kung Fu Panda. I haven't seen the third one, but the first two, check out. They're fucking good. Like, Sifu or Shifu or whatever his fucking name is. The tiny, he's a tiny red panda or something, isn't he? Sifu. He's fucking brilliant. I really like the tiger in the second one, or is he in the first one? Who's the bad guy in the first one? Is it Tai Lung, the tiger? Yeah. And then the bad guy in the second one. Bad guy in the second one is the... Have I seen the third one? Fuck. Can't even fucking remember now. The whoever voiced Tai Lung, the tiger, and like the way they... He wasn't a tiger, he was a leopard. He was a snow leopard. He wasn't a tiger. Yeah, he was a snow leopard. It's mad when you start thinking of shit and all, you start remembering and all. Like, do you know what I fucking... I think it was this is about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's just they're popping into my head back there because like of Kung Fu Panda and like martial arts and Chinese lore and all this stuff. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. If you've never seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, fucking watch that movie. A couple of weeks ago, that movie popped into my mind, and I was like, I need to go back and watch Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to. I'm going to go back and watch Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Because that was one of those movies, like many of the movies that I've mentioned, some of my favourite films. That was one of the movies that I had on VHS, and like I played it so many fucking times that it just stopped working. Oh fuck! Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is fucking awesome. It's also hilarious if you have like my sense of humor with the whole like, you know, if you watch it. They actually did a fairly good job of dubbing over the Chinese with the English in that movie. They made a note of that and all. Like people were like, you know, oh, the dubbing on this is actually fairly decent. Like, but like obviously I've watched it in both. I watched it in the Chinese with subtitles, which is much better. You know, if you're gonna watch a foreign film, watch it with subtitles. Just do it. Like, fucking learn how to fucking do two things at the same time. You basic bitches. The stairs scene was funny every time. Oh fuck! That's how you know something's funny. Is like no matter how many times you watch it, it still makes you laugh a little bit. Oh god! Oh, did I forget to do the fucking phrase of the day? I think I did. Hold on, I'm trying to make brown. Can you imagine fucking like Lucifer or like Michael, one of the angels, like before all the shit kicked off, while he was still making us, like one of them strolls into God's office and he's like sitting there making humans, and he's like, "All Father, I have a question. A moment. I'm trying to make one of them brown." Look up Jack Black early life. Belongs to the tribe. He's Jewish, is he? The tiger's in the first one. Yeah, but he's not a tiger, is he? He's a fucking snow leopard. Like when I remembered it, I was like, he's not a tiger. He's like purple and he's got spots. He's a fucking snow leopard. He's fucking awesome though. His storyline is so cool, like, you know. And like when the scene where he's in that prison and like he escapes is like one of the fucking coolest things I've ever seen, and it's in a kids movie. Like, it's so well done in terms of like atmosphere and like cinematography and like the fucking choreography. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, sure, it's just 2 CG. Like, it's just an animation, but like, is that not on a level more impressive? Like when you see those anime cartoons, like there's anime cartoons like. Like, granted, yeah, anime's got like a bad rap for perfectly understandable reasons. But there are some fucking fight scenes in some of the anime shows or movies that are out there where, like, the way they fucking draw them and the amount of frames and, like, how much they actually drew, and, like, they'll, like, speed up and then slow down and zoom out and zoom in, and it's all hand drawn. Like, fucking hell, it's just so impressive. I try to do that. I try to, with stuff like Disney movies and like, you know, films that were like really good that we liked in the past, but like it turns out there was a lot of heavy programming and propaganda and like pre-programming and stuff like that. Like, I try to watch them and still like just take the good out of them and then leave the bad, you know? I don't like, I don't ever want to become overly sensitive to the dark, you know? Like, I'm really comfortable with the dark. That's why I'm traumatized. But, like, as I walk into the light, I don't want to become naive and fragile and like complacent, you know. I want to retain my knowledge of the dark to the point where like I don't ever forget how bad things can be, but embrace, you know, joy and the light and shit. Speaking of Asian movies, it's been a while since I've seen Kung Pao. I've never seen Kung Pao. Is it a comedy or is it like legit like a good Asian movie? I know it can be a comedy and still a legit good Asian movie, but you know what I mean. Like, is it Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or is it fucking Kung Fu Hustle? If you've never seen Kung Fu Hustle, oh my god, watch that movie. So fucking funny. So fucking good in terms of action and special effects. Shaolin Soccer, not so much. I recently tried to watch Shaolin Soccer and like there was a scene with an egg. That's as much as I'll say. And I found it unbearable to watch. I didn't find it funny. I found it disgusting. And I had to turn it off. But Kung Fu Hustle, fucking awesome film. Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle's great. It's so fucking good. Kung Pao is a comedy. I'll have to check that out. Shouldn't you be on the toilet when you're making brown? Could you imagine that he's sitting there in a newspaper like, Father, where are you, Father? I'm making brown. I'll be down in a minute. You know not to interrupt me when I'm making brown. Do you know what that reminds me of, right? I fucking, I forgot to put the sun in the painting goo. Did I put the sun in the fridge painting goo? Have I forgotten about the sun? Fuck! I have a childhood memory, right? And it's fucking hilarious. Painting goo goo. I remember when I was very young, like, still, like, pretty much like a toddler. That's another, like, a cool fucking talking point to get people to fucking talk about. It's like, what's your earliest memory? I have a really early memory. I don't remember being a baby. I don't remember being, like, immobile and, like, looking up a lot. But, like, I remember being, like, a year old. But it's only one memory, and it's, like, just screenshots. But anyway, fuck it. I have this memory when I was, like, 3, 4-ish, right? And I walk up the stairs, and the toilet door is in front of me, and it's closed. And I know my dad's in there. And I walked up to the handle, and I tried the handle, and he was like, "It's locked. I'm in here going to the toilet." You know, probably. Like, I can't remember exactly what he said. But I remember what I said. I was like, "Are you going wee or are you going poo?" And there was just a long silence. And I could just imagine him sitting there with, like, you know, just rolling his eyes. And I was like looking through the keyhole and all, like, you know, it was like, "What are you doing in there?" Like, you know, "Dad, like, can I come in?" Like, and he's just in there having a shit, like, you know. Oh god, like, and then I remember he fucking I obviously did it a few times, right? I used to, like, I only ever remember doing it once, but obviously I did it a few times. Because he put silicone in the keyhole. And because he couldn't lock the door with the key, because he filled the keyhole full of silicone, he put a bolt lock on the door. I remember that. Like, I remember going up to the hole one day and being like, "What's that white stuff?" Oh, God. Man, childhood memories are fucking brilliant. Like, obviously we all have traumatic ones. Obviously, I know. You know, they're not all brilliant. But, like, the good ones are fucking great. You know? I have some great childhood memories, like, I really do. why anyone says the obvious. I know the sun isn't white. It's called a base layer because I'm based. Look at that for a perfect circle. Freehand with paint. Pray for painting you foreign dog. Right, I gotta go. I have to call it quits. I have other shit to do. I can't do a fucking nearly 3-hour marathon today, even though I kind of want to. I'm kind of in the zone, but my energy is needed elsewhere. So, this concludes today's PEINTEINGU. Leave it to the ginge to neglect the sun. I have to, otherwise I'll die. I have all these movies on my Plex server. Good taste, gents. Yeah, I remember you tried to hook me up with that, but I couldn't get it to work. I'm a bit retarded when it comes to certain modern technical subscription shit. Like, I'm a gamer. I'm excellent at pressing buttons. Another classic is Big Trouble in Little China. I fucking love that one, and I've actually never seen it all the way through from start to finish. I've only seen like bits and pieces, but that fucking movie is hilarious for all the right reasons. Y'all make me laugh. Good. Welcome to PEINTEINGU. Right. Oh wait, I forgot to do the phrase of the day. I will do the phrase of the day and then I will leave you. Today's phrase of the day. Supu wa inochida. Supu wa inochida. Which means soup is life. Nearly. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. I need to eat. And I need a cigarette. Right. Farewell. And God bless. Same time tomorrow. If you would like to pay for PEINTEINGU, link in description. If you would like to buy any of my merchandise, link also in description. I will be here, same time, same place, same high-octane painting energy, and dealing with people's trauma over the internet. I love you all. Be good, be true, and be beautiful. And I will see you tomorrow. God bless.